Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece chapter 958. So the first chapter starts off, the chapter starts off by showing us a flashback to Odin's time as a member of Roger's crew. And first off, even before I get into the nitty gritty details, I just really like how much we got. I really like how we got so much characterization on Roger and how similar he actually was to Luffy just in that flashback alone. I mean, with Roger, it's kind of always that thing where Roger has basically always kind of been there. We've seen flashbacks of him and whatnot, and we've gotten to see his journey, I guess, and whatnot. But the thing with all those flashbacks is that pretty much it's only given us little bits and pieces, and it's never actually given us like pretty much a full sense of what pretty much Roger as a character is like. And just in this flashback alone, I feel this flashback it did good in terms of giving us a lot more character with Roger and what Roger was like. And yeah, one of those things is that and there are so many parallels just in that flashback with pretty much how much Roger is like Luffy and how much Roger's like and even how much Roger's like relationship with his crew in many respects also mirrors how basically Luffy's relationship with his crew is. So yeah, just a nice little bit of characterization there. Now, in this flashback, we learn that Odin's dream was basically essentially to open the borders to basically end Wano's whole thing of isolationism. Like he wanted to basically he wanted to bring like Wano out into the world. He wanted to end the pretty much like years and years that Wano had spent in isolation away from the rest of the world, and from the rest of the world, and with us knowing this dream, with us knowing that this was like Odin's dream, in a certain respect, it comes with a very twisted tragedy. Well, just from that little flashback and hearing what Odin's dream was, I have no doubt that Odin actually managed, in order to convince Wano, in order to keep its borders open, but by doing that, it actually allowed Kaido in order to waltz right in and basically invade, and we all know how that went down after Kaido invaded. Like Odin died at that point, but the reason as to why he even wanted to open the borders was pretty much was that he basically wanted to. The reason why he opened the borders to begin with is because he basically wanted to allow he wanted Roger in order to experience Wano, and what he wanted Roger in order to experience Wano firsthand openly without any like hostility or anything like that. But the thing is, at the time he had done that, But by the time he had done that, and because of Wano's years long of isolation, at that point, I don't think like Odin, he probably didn't even know of what happened to Roger at that point. If I'm getting the timeline correctly here, but yeah. So in an attempt in order to allow like Roger and the Roger Pirates, like in order to allow his friends like free passage into Wano, it ended up bringing Kaido there instead. So yeah, now and they're really and you know what, with this whole thing of Odin's dream of bringing Wano like pretty much in like basically out into the open and ending the isolationism. that in itself, there's actually there's a real irony about this, which is that Orochi, in many respects, is doing what Prince Odin wanted for Wano. The only difference is that in Orochi's case, he's basically perverted that dream in order to suit his own ambitions. Like now, and where Wano's isolationism fits into this is interesting because because in many respects he's basically what Orochi has done with this situation is he's privately opened the borders to pretty much anyone who pretty much are basically of use of him and can pretty much and can pretty much make and are valuable in keeping him in power. But publicly, he's still kept up the facade of Wano's isolationism, but the isolationism in itself also serves his needs because the only reason why he publicly wants to keep up the isolationism is basically to hide his basically dealings, is to basically hide all the dark dealings he's done in the background from the government, and in this case, it also just happens to serve the purpose of basically also pretty much hiding pretty much Kaido's activities as well. So it really is. So in the case of in this weird case of irony, it's basically served both parties, and with Orochi, he's basically just taken. He's taken like Odin's dream and perverted it in order to suit his own ends, and we also to that end we also have to remember, like last chapter it was made clear that the world government barely knows a thing about what's going on in Wano because of that isolationism, and that probably includes anything Kaido related. In fact, you know what? I'm even going to go a step further and say that if it wasn't clear before, I think it's clear now that Orochi what Orochi did when Kaido invaded is he basically used Odin's death and Kaido's invasion as basically a means in order to reinforce as to why Wano's isolationism is paramount. Like he basically played the situation in order to hide his activities, but also to make it seem as though he genuinely cared about Wano by using like Kaido's invasion as a means of saying, look, isolationism is what is going to protect us from this point. Is what's going to protect us, because look what happened when we opened our borders. Like I gotta give Orochi credit. He played it really, really smart with this, and yeah, as it shows, and yeah, this is where things get freaky, because at the end of the chapter, the entire plan was pretty much gone to shit, and obviously, I don't think anyone's dead, but something else might have happened. Now, at the end of the chapter, Oda poses a very interesting question. Did Orochi have a plan? Like he actually puts that in a blurb at the end of the chapter. And I say, and yeah, like this is actually one thing where to me there are definitely a couple of different scenarios in which I see this playing out. The first scenario is that, yes, Orochi definitely had a plan, but it's probably a lot simpler than what we think, because one thing to take note of in this chapter is that Oda did take. He definitely took the time in order to focus at least more than a couple pages or panels on describing how the weather in Wano works, on how the weather in Wano works during this period or this festival, and when you add all that information to pretty much Shuten Maru's comment that pretty much the harbor was attacked, I feel what we're seeing right now is a deception on Orochi's part in the sense where he's basically set the stage in order to make like Kinemon and the others believe that the army of 4,000 were either killed or captured during or either killed or captured during their attempt in order to make it to in preparation to in order to sail off to Onigashima, and he's using that storm as a means in order to sell that the 4,000 men are basically again either killed or captured. Of course, the big question as to why he do it. Of course, with that, it also raises the big question of why he do it, and in this scenario of him. In this scenario of him like deceiving them, I almost wonder if it's because Orochi himself can't find them either. Like I think the 4,000 men are. I think the 4,000 men have probably even eluded Orochi. I think, and if that's the case, then I think what we're probably looking at here is a little bit of a Trojan horse situation where the 4,000 men are actually hiding right under Orochi's nose without him realizing it. Like I think they're probably hiding like in like when you see like Orochi and Orochi's like pretty much Orochi's like escort ships like going to Onigashima. I wonder if they're like if they're hiding in those boats or something like that, because I find it if this weather thing is basically such a pretty much normal phenomenon, then I think it would make sense that pretty much the 4,000 men would basically know about this, and they would find a pretty much alternative route in terms of getting to Onigashima. So this was probably that basically alternative route almost or something like that. But yeah, and actually that's the biggest thing, guys. Like, that's the other thing I'm questioning here is if this is such a routine thing for basically wanting to go through, then I'm surprised that basically Kinemon and the others didn't really like factor this in or know about this, but or maybe this is something new. I don't know, but yeah, I'm really questioning like basically Kinemon's if Kinemon's judgment on this one, but. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of how I see this playing out. I don't know if I'm not 100% sure on this, if this is actually the case that basically this is a whole deception and Orochi and the 4,000 men are actually hiding where they are hiding in Orochi's ships and are gonna pop out when they finally arrive at Onigashima, but. It does seem to fit a little bit the best right now into this whole situation, and assuming that basically none of this is a deception, then the other minor possibility I have is that they were all that all this happened on the previous night, so that they were probably all ambushed the previous night and got captured. Which, in that scenario, this whole thing is. This whole thing with Kinemon and the others like going to Onigashima is probably a trap. Is probably a trap in order to lure the rest of them there. I mean, it was pretty convenient that Inuarashi had found that one robo that still worked. So yeah, that's another possibility. But honestly, I'm still hinging a lot more of my bets on that whole like from Trojan horse thing of basically all the men like from hiding in those ships, and they're gonna pop out when they all make it to Onigashima in a surprise attack. But we'll have to wait and see. Just go ahead, and I'm curious to know everyone's thoughts on this. What do you think is going on? Is it deception or or is it part of a plan that another plan that Oroshi's got? But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Crunchyroll. That Night of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.